A lot of people are looking to save money on their grocery bills, and budget meals is a great way to do that. Welcome back. My name is Amanda. On this channel, I focus on frugal living, budget meals, and urban homesteading. If that's something you enjoy, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Grocery prices have been soaring, especially in the last couple of years. A lot of people are scrambling, and they are looking for ways to save money. Making budget meals can help you save a lot of money on your grocery bill. And this week, I'm going to share 5 of my budget-friendly meals with you. So come along and we are going to get started. All right, so I'm going to get started with chickpea tikka masala. Now, with my recipes, I do sub out some things that I might not have in the actual recipe, but I have at my house. So if that makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry, but it's a great thing to do if you are looking at a recipe and you don't have that ingredient. It's great to be able to look to find something that you might be able to sub in, and that way you're not running to the grocery store. And for anybody who doesn't know, I am personally on a 6-month pantry challenge, which means I am not running to the grocery store to buy random ingredients. Now, if you're looking to follow that challenge, I'll make sure I list that link in the description box, so you can go ahead and go over to that playlist to find out all about my 6-month pantry challenge. But this also means that I am definitely having a focus on budget meals, which is why I am doing some more again this week. So, like I said, we are starting off with some chickpea tikka masala because there are no better budget ingredients than beans and rice. Beans and rice are really, really cheap, very affordable. So if you can find ways to make them delicious, you're laughing, because then you have tons of really yummy meals that you can have and share with your family, and you aren't breaking the bank. So let's get started, and I'm going to go ahead and chop up 1 medium onion. So an original recipe for this tikka masala would call for a shallot chopped up. Now, I don't personally ever have shallots on hand, and I do believe they are a little bit more expensive than an onion, but onions are your next best thing. So I have diced up 1 medium yellow onion. I'm going to get it into my frying pan with a little bit of olive oil in there. Now to this, I'm also adding 1 small zucchini diced up because I like to add a little bit more vegetables to my tikka masala. Now we're just going to cook this until the onions are translucent and the zucchini is nicely done. All right, so my onions and zucchini have been cooking for about 5 minutes, so they're nice and soft. To this, I'm going to add 1 quart of my home canned chickpeas. 1 quart is equal to 4 cups if you're measuring in a different way. All right, so to this now I am adding my jar of home canned tomato sauce. Again, this is worth 4 cups. Okay, so to this I am adding 2 teaspoons of garam masala powder, spice mix. 1 teaspoon of cumin, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of paprika, and 2 teaspoons of salt. Now, if you add coriander, you could add coriander to this as well. It's not a spice that I have on hand though, so I will not be adding that today. Oh, and I've just forgot 1 teaspoon of ginger. And we'll just give that a quick stir to make sure all the spices are well combined. And I'm going to let this simmer for a good 15 to 20 minutes. All right, this has been simmering for a while. I'm going to add 1 can of full fat coconut milk to this. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice. You can do fresh squeezed, but I have this here. So I'm just going to add that. You can serve this with rice and a salad or just rice, and it is a perfect, filling, budget-friendly dinner. All right, so tonight we are going to do a version of the red beans and rice meal. So I'm starting off with my pot here, and I'm going to get some olive oil in there because we're going to saute some vegetables. So I'm just using about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here. To that, I'm adding 1 diced yellow onion. Say this is about 5 stalks of celery diced. And 2 of my homegrown peppers here, and those are nicely diced. So I'm just going to let these saute in that olive oil for about 5 to 10 minutes. All right, so those vegetables have been sauteing for about 5 minutes now, and I've got these 2 ham bones that I'm going to put in here, and I'm going to add 6 cups of water. Now at this point, if you have soaked some dried red beans, you would put those beans in here as well. I'm trying to work with some canned beans that I'm trying to get out of my pantry, so I'm going to add those a little later because I don't want this to be bean mush. So if you have dried beans, you're going to add them now, and you're going to simmer this low and slow for like good 4 or 5 hours, just so all of those flavors meld together. But for me, I'm adding these ham bones, 6 cups of water, and then I'm going to let that simmer, and it's going to create a beautiful broth. At this point, you're also going to add in your spices. Now, if you had bay leaves, I would add them in here. Right now, I am out of bay leaves, so I am not adding those. I am, however, adding 2 tablespoons of a Cajun seasoning. There we go. So I'm going to let this simmer for a good 4 hours, and then I'm going to add in the rest of my ingredients. All right, so this has been simmering for about 3.5 hours. Now I'm going to add in some of my sausage here. I have 3 sausages. I'm going to fry them up first, get them nice and brown before I add them to our pot here. Browning them just helps with the texture once it's in the pot. Now, if you're wanting to keep this really budget friendly, you do not need to add the sausage because meat, as we know, is rather expensive these days. So that can always be left out. We do have the meat flavor with the bone from the ham. At this point, I'm also going to add my beans. I have 2 cans of beans. One was kidney beans, one was a mixed bean. I normally do red beans in here, but I'm just going to work with what I have right now. So I want them to simmer in that ham broth and then add the sausage so that they can absorb all that flavor as well. All right, so at this point, I am going to get my ham bones out, and then I'm going to get my sausage in here so that the sausage can fully combine with the rest of the meal. Now, traditionally, I think this is served with rice or maybe even grits, but I think for us for tonight, because we had rice last night, I'm going to do this with some mashed potatoes. Okay, so I'm just going to get my sausage into the pot here. And I'll just simmer this for another half an hour. All right, so I know this does not look like the traditional red beans and rice, obviously because I'm doing potatoes. But this is my version of it for today because, like I said, I didn't want to do rice again. And this looks delicious. Nice and budget friendly. Enjoy those beans. All right, so tonight is going to be a busy night for us. So I'm just working on a very quick slow cooker soup. And tonight we're going to do some Cajun potato soup. I'm starting off with 4 cups of broth, and I'm going to get that in my slow cooker. To that I'm adding 1 diced yellow onion. And to that I'm adding 6 diced potatoes. For seasoning, I am adding 2 teaspoons of my homemade Cajun sauce. So I'm just going to add the rest of that there. 1 teaspoon of paprika. 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. And a teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to give this a quick stir so all of those spices are combined in the broth. I'm cooking this on low for 6 to 7 hours, or you can cook it on high for 3 to 4 hours. All right, so my husband actually finished this soup up for me because I was at practice with my son. So what you're going to do is just blend the soup up after it's done cooking. Add a cup of either heavy cream, weeded milk, and then you can add some shredded cheese on top. So that's it. It's absolutely delicious. A nice twist on the regular pumpkin or potato soup. All right, so today we are going to be making a lentil curry. Lentils are super budget friendly, so this is a great meal to do it with. And like I've said before, if you really want to save some money, you're going to want to do beans and rice and make them taste good. And Indian cooking is wonderful at making beans and rice taste really good. So we're going to go ahead and work on this lentil curry, and my daughter's going to help me today. I'm going to start off by putting 2 tablespoons of olive oil in my pot here. And then we have chopped up 6 cloves of garlic that are going to go straight into this olive oil and saute for about 2 to 5 minutes. Now, I'm also adding zucchini just because I like to add the vegetables that we have in the fridge to our meals. So it doesn't necessarily call for zucchini in this curry, but I am going to add that today. So we're just going to start off by sauteing those. And we're going to get our seasonings in here. So 2 tablespoons of ginger, so 2 nice big squirts. Okay, that's good enough, yeah. Okay, we are going to do a tablespoon of cumin. That's good, that's good. We're going to do a tablespoon of coriander powder. That's fine. And now a tablespoon of turmeric powder. No, that's good. Go ahead with that. Thank you. We're also going to add a couple teaspoons of salt, and we're going to give that a stir around, please. To this, we are adding 4 cups of tomato sauce. That's fine. And now we're adding 1 cup of water. All right, to this, I'm going to add a cup of lentils. My daughter will add a cup of lentils. We're going to bring it to a boil and then simmer for 40 minutes. All right, so this is our curry. And now that it's cooked down and the lentils are fully cooked, I'm just going to go ahead and add a can of full fat coconut milk and get that all mixed in there. And then we are going to serve this with rice, and it is absolutely delicious. This meal was incredibly flavorful as well as a hit with the kids. It's one we will do often. All right, we are on to our last meal, and this is going to be butternut and sausage soup. So I'm starting off with my pot. I'm going to go ahead and get 2 tablespoons of olive oil in there because we are going to saute 1 diced onion. So I've got 1 diced yellow onion that I'm getting in here. And with that, I am also going to add my sausage. So I have 4 Italian sausages here. Again, if you want to make this more budget friendly, leave the sausage out, or you could even cut it in half. For me, though, sausage is a very budget friendly protein. I can get 4 of these sausages at the store for $5. So it is very budget friendly, especially when you're feeding a family. It makes more economical sense than chicken or beef. So I'm going to get this in here to saute for a little bit. About 5 to 8 minutes. All right, so the onions and the sausages have been cooking for about 8 minutes now, and I'm going to go ahead and add in about 2 cups of cubed butternut squash. And now I'm going to add in 6 cups of chicken broth. You can add, I personally have some bouillon cubes, so I'm going to add in my 6 cups of water and then 3 bouillon cubes. Home canned broth is definitely the most budget friendly option here. However, I have some bouillon cubes that need to be used up, so that's why I'm choosing to use them today. But if you are able to make your own broth, that is definitely the most budget friendly option. All right, we're going to add our seasonings now. I'm going to go ahead and add in 2 teaspoons of salt, a teaspoon of oregano, 2 teaspoons of garlic, and a teaspoon of sage. I have some homegrown sage here that I'm just going to mush up into there. All right, we are going to cover this and let it simmer for about a half an hour. All right, this has been simmering for about a half an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and add a cup of pasta. You can use whatever pasta you like. Whatever you have on hand is just great. With that, I am also adding about 2 cups of chopped greens, kale, spinach, turnip greens, beet greens. Those are also all great greens to add to this. We're just going to let this simmer for another 10 minutes and then our soup is done. All right, this soup is so good, so filling, and so nutritious. This is an absolute win, and it's really budget friendly. You honestly can never go wrong with soup. It's always really budget friendly. Add some pasta in there for good filler, and everything is just so nutritious. And then you've got the protein with the sausages. So definitely recommend, like, this one is just so great, especially if you guys are on a budget. Enjoy. So all of these meals fed my family of 4 very well and left lots of leftovers, so they would be great for a bigger family as well. If you are looking for extra content from me, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok, but you can also find me over on Patreon, where I am sharing exclusive content that I don't share anywhere else, as well as weekly frugal blogs and video tutorials. So if you're interested in that, I will leave the link for that in my description box. Head on over and find me there. If you're looking for more budget meals to help you save a lot of money in the kitchen, I have a playlist linked here. Make sure you check that and check out all the videos. I have lots of ideas there for you. Thank you guys so much for joining me in the kitchen today. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you next time.